Hello friends, welcome back. Okay, so our next move is we're going to move on to about iteration. So I'm just going to open that up using the terminal. And I'm just going to close the windows from the last tests. We passed them so that they're not important anymore. So Ruby 1.8 stores names. Okay, so the first error here, we've got about iteration on line 27. And so it shows us that this is what our next error will be. So I'm just going to read through this real quick. Ruby 1.8 stores names as strings. Ruby 1.9 later stores names as symbols. So use a version-dependent method as name to convert to the right format for Koans. Okay, so this, I mean, if you're learning Ruby right now, like I've never learned any of this stuff, so I don't remember that. But yeah, so now back to the Koans. So it looks like in Ruby 1.8, do this, make name to string. And so I'm not really sure how that works. Anyways, back to the Koans. Test each is a method on arrays. So here we've got methods. So this is kind of interesting here. I'm just going to clear the terminal. You can say, you can do an array like that, and then you can say dot methods, right? Okay, cool. So if on the array you call dot methods, you get, the return variable is an array of a ton of different values. And you can see all of these have different use cases, right? You can say public send, extend, .pp. Is it nil? Is an array nil? What is the class of an array? And so here the next thing they're going to do, include. And include just says as they're there. And then so we've got one that's as name. And so, I mean, I think we can go as name and get each. As name each. Undefined method as name for main object. Interesting. So I'm not sure how the as name works, but basically we've got this array and then the methods, and we're saying, does it include each? And so if we look in here, we could probably find it. If I press Command F, we can go each, and we see reverse each, and then there is each is right here. So this is just saying, does this include each in the methods? And so it will. So I guess assert equal, this is going to render out to true. Oh, wow, that doesn't work here. But my guess is that this needs to be true, just because it says it there. Yeah, and it also gives you the answer here. Fill me in is expected to be true. But so now, cool. Now we can go rake. And we're on to the next problem on line 36. So let's go into here. Test iterating with each. So array 1, 2, 3, and the sum is 0. We take the array and we go each. So we're going to iterate through, and we're going to grab the first one, and that's going to become the item, and then the sum will be plus 1. And then we're going to go through another one. So 1 is going to be the sum plus 2. So that gives us 3. And then the third one, the item will be 3, and the sum is 3. So we say 3, so we make it to 6, right? 6. Yeah, it tells you that you're supposed to have there. So we could also, I want to just show you guys this real quick because this is a really useful tool here. So let's throw the array in there. But instead of just going sum plus equals the item, let's also put, meaning like we're gonna log to the console. It's the same as console log. We can console log the item, and then in parentheses we're going to say this is the item, and then we're also going to put the sum. Sum. Cool. And then we can end that. And you can see the item is set to 1, the sum is set to 1. So this happens after that, right? And so the item is 2, and the sum becomes 3. And we're putting it afterwards, so the sum has already been added up. And so the sum shows to be 6 here. So as you can see, it just iterates through, and it just takes the first element, sets it as item, runs it through whatever process that are here, and then it keeps going to the next one. So that's how for loops work in Ruby. You've seen this in JavaScript as well. Test each can use curly braces blocks too. So yeah, each, instead of having it do a second line here, you can just pass it in just like that. And so this is the same thing. It's going to be 6 as well, right? Test breaks. So yeah, I think that you could actually do it here as well. We can, if we set sum equal to 0, because in our REPL, it's equal to 6 now. But I think we can go array.each. And now the sum will be 6. So I set it to 0 up here, but then by calling this method, it's changed it so that the sum has gone back up. Cool. And let's see, test break works with each style of iteration. Okay, so here we've got an array that counts up to 10. We have a sum of 0. So break if item is greater than 3. So item initially is going to be 1, and then it's going to be 2, and then it's going to be 3. But then when it gets to 4, we're going to break out of this loop, which means it's not going to keep going. So our sum is the same as up here, 6. Okay, cool. So test collect transforms elements of an array. So array 1, 2, 3, the new array is array.collect item plus 10. So in this one, it's going to go through, and what it's doing is it's saying, wow, they just did item plus 10. Oh, because of implicit returns, you can do that. I would have thought you would wanted to do this. Like in JavaScript, you'd do that. But with Ruby, you can make it this clean. And so what are we going to get here? Well, in the first, the new array. Okay, so the new array is going to be an array, right? And then the first object plus 10. So 10, and then this 10. And then the second object will be 20, right? Array, no, it'll be 12. No, this one will be 11. 10 plus 1 is 11. 10 plus 2 is 12. And then 10 plus 3 is 13. Cool, so we save that. Map is another way for collect. So map and collect, I guess, operate the same way. And so here we're just going to get the same thing, right? Yeah, 11, 12, 13. Cool, so let's save that and then run our rake task to make sure we're on the right path. Expected fill me in to equal 246. Okay, about iterations, now we're on line 70. 67, all right, 70. This is where our problem is going to be. And let's see here. Array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then even numbers, array.select. Cool, so select is another method. What it does is you pass in a conditional here. So if the item modulo 2, so there's no remainders, if that is equal to 0, then we pass it in. So on the first element, it's not going to do that. You can actually see the variable name that they used for the result is kind of gives you everything that you need to know. So what are we going to get here? We're going to get an array that's 2, 4, and 6. Find all is another one for the select method. So instead of doing select, you can do find all. That's one cool thing that I do think that's cool about Ruby is you get to just they've got more method names for doing a similar things. So here, more even number, they're doing array.findAll. So here's that's the array, and we're finding within here. Each item's being passed in, so item is at 1 first. Well, 1 modulo 2 is equal to 1, so that one will not be selected, and therefore this is just another way to do the same thing. So 2, 4, 6. Cool. Test find locates the first element matching a criteria. So item.size is greater than 4. Okay, so item.size, check this out. If you've got Jim, you're passing Jim in as the string, and you go size. It gives you the length of the letters, 1, 2, 3, J-I-M, right? And so here they're going to find, well, this is a 3, this is a 3. This is the only time where the size of the string is greater than 4, so Clarence. And so what do you think that this one's going to return? I think that this one's just going to return the string of Clarence, like that. It doesn't return Doug as well, because find is a singular one. And cool, so let's save that and run the rake task. We're now on line 85, which tells us we've got this one successfully passed. Okay, so test inject will blow your mind. Inject 0, some item. Okay, so what inject does is I think it takes the sum of them. So yeah, injects is going to start with a sum. I think that the sum will be it starts at 0 because you set inject there. And so what it's going to do is say sum plus item. So our sum starts at 0, and then it's 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. That's our result. And then here, inject starts with 1, and so I think it will be, oh no, and now it's product and item. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 4, 24. I haven't done this in a while. Describe your own word what inject does. Well, I think I kind of did that. All right, so let's run rake 169. It looks like we got one wrong. 97. Okay, cool. That's down here. So that is how it works. So inject, they start with the product, and the product is you add it here, or you start with a variable that is your starting value, I guess. Accumulator is what is called in JavaScript a lot. And then so with each one, it starts, the product is equal to 1 initially, and then as it iterates through, the item changes, but the product is variable dependent on what you do in your conditional statement here. So I hope that helps. It's a good practice to learn these because this is useful stuff. Test all iteration methods work on any collection, not just arrays. So map, yeah, so 1.3, what is that going to get you? That's going to get you a range of 1, 2, 3, and you say you add the item each time, dot map. So yeah, here we could take this guy and throw it in here, and then we'll see, oh, does that even work? Ranges act like a collection. So yeah, I guess you could use a range. And you're going to say item plus 10. And so the result is going to be equal to 11 13. Could I do a range like that? I actually don't know this one. It says that it's going to be 11, 12, 13. So let's save that and run it. 97, 97. Okay, I didn't get it right. So if you do pass a range into map, it's going to turn it into an array. I thought maybe it would just fix it with the map. 12, 13. 11, 12, 13. So we know we're going to get that right now. And then files act like a collection of lines. So if you go file.open, example file.txt. Okay, so what is that, right? Well, I could copy it and press Command P and paste it in there. That'll show me it in Atom. But if you don't have it in Atom, you can just look in the Koans folder, even if you were to do it in Finder, and you just try to find example file. So it's in alphabetical order, so example file will be here. This is a test. It's 4 lines. So they're going to say upcase is equal to file.map the lines, and they're stripping the line and putting it to upcase. So strip's going to take away the new line element, and then upcase is going to capitalize it. So this is a test. It's going to become an array like this, and then it's going to be this is a test. Upcase is, I'm pretty sure upcase does each line. So let's save that and run these. 170. Okay, so it looks like, oh, we're in about blocks. So that wraps up this section. I'm just going to read these little notes here. So you can create your own collections that work with each map select. Cool. Yeah, you can create your own collections and they'll work with that. In the previous koan, we saw the construct file.open, do file, code to read file. Why did we do it that way instead of the following? Equals the file field, and then read the file. File.open, file name. File.open, file name, do file. So file in this example would be example file.txt. Why do we do it that way? Well, the cool thing about this is we're able to break it down into lines, right? We can get multiple line files, and then if we have it iterated into an object, it makes it so it's easier to work with in Ruby. I guess that would be it. When do you get about sandwich koan, recheck your answer. Okay, so I'm guessing, I'm going to write it in here. I'm just going to say, we do this iteratively in order to work with data as a collection. And I'm just going to write Ian in here. I'm going to write useful programming in here. And so that way I can come back, and if a sandwich code kind of makes me feel differently, that's great. So I'm just going to save my work here, and we'll be good with that one. So our next one will be doing blocks. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next lesson.